everybody! It's me, Carmine DeStefano, the Bookman. Considering it's been 4 months almost that I had a new game to review, I'm losing my fucking mind, and I figured I would do, to keep up with about 2 videos a month, another book rant. I know you're so overjoyed to hear that I've got some more complaints. And this one is, it sort of comes out after I watched some reviews from other people, and there were a couple of things. And also in lieu of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, I figured I would kind of put these two problems that I have with Hollywood together, or with people's perception in Hollywood together. So of course the first thing, first and foremost, I did not see the new Turtles movie, and I know that the United States is inexplicably obsessed with the 80s, which is one of the reasons why Mike Tyson's so famous still to this day, for whatever fucking reason. But with that being said, trying to divert back to the 80s with all these new movies coming out that are just retreads of shows and whatever from the 80s, it's getting out of hand. But be that as it may, a new Turtles movie came out. I was a big fan of the Turtles when I was growing up, as everybody was. It was huge. I don't think anybody that is young, like the young people of 20s or younger than that in this day and age, really understand what Turtles were. Turtles to us were like the newest big cell phone for all of you. Everyone had Turtles figures, everyone watched the cartoons, everyone knew the comic books, everyone played the video game, the arcade game that I played through on my gaming channel, wink wink, promotion. There was so much about the Turtles, and they made a movie with animatronic faces and what have you, people in costumes and shit. It was cheesy, it sucked ass, and it had nothing to do with the actual comic book or the cartoon. And this one falls into that same issue. And with all of these comic book movies coming out and everything like that, I have to stress once again, Hollywood, you suck, okay? You suck balls. Let's just be fair. If you were creative enough to make your own storylines, you'd make your own fucking storylines. You'd stop harping on other people's ideas to create movies to generate interest and get people in the opening gate, which is all this is about. The biggest movies nowadays, you had advertisement after advertisement after advertisement, trailer after trailer after trailer, for weeks, for days, for everything. Everything's a promotion for this movie until it comes out, then you don't hear from it anymore. Because they want that opening draw. And once you get the opening draw, you fucking whores, you don't care what happens after that. So in order to get the opening draw, you just sell an idea. Look, we've got X-Men. Look, we've got Avengers. Look, we've got Guardians of the Galaxy. We've got Superman vs. Batman with Wonder Woman in there. We're going to show promotions, we're going to show pictures, and we're going to give you a little bit of a taste so that you can be so starved for these movies that you have to go see them. And once they come out, they're abysmal. What I call it is, I call it comic book cliff notes. You get key points and you put those into these movies, but the movies themselves are somebody's concoction, somebody's bullshit, cliched movie ideas involving these comic book characters. And I will say it again, you can claim what you want about Peter Jackson taking liberties, and he has taken liberties. I read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. And let me explain something to you. To not insult anybody, especially J.R. Tolkien, God rest his soul, who took Norse mythology and made it his own in a way that people to this day obsess over it. If you actually read any of his books, it took him 2 pages to describe what a hobbit was. Okay? The guy was very lethargic in his writing. So for Peter Jackson, some of this stuff I didn't even get when I read the books. Army of the Dead? Where was that? I didn't even get it. You have to read the books like 3-4 times to get every last bit. So for Peter Jackson to make them into what they were, these epic, thrilling movies, it really was a lot of work and a lot of creativity, but he stayed true to the books, even to the point of having dialogue from the books. Now if you look at the comic books, the movies that they make from comic books, they are so fucking divergent from the actual comic books themselves, it makes me fucking nuts. Just the fact that Iron Man, which was the closest one to the comic books from what I can tell, from the ones I've actually seen, just the fact that his butler, Jarvis, is a computer AI, that alone is like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he was never with Pepper Potts, really, as like his main squeeze. So all these little liberties that they take are drive me crazy. So the idea with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like April O'Neil had them when she was a kid and her father was a scientist. No, that's not what fucking happened. It was like in the movie in the 80s. No, Splinter was not just a rat training because his owner was a master. Splinter was a motherfucking master. Shredder was his motherfucking rival back in motherfucking Japan. Splinter was set up by Shredder. He went to the United States. He couldn't find anywhere to live. He lived in the sewers. Turtles were dumped in the sewers. Ooze came in the sewers. They became what they were. That's the fucking storyline. All right? It's not that difficult. And you might say, well, it's a stupid storyline. You could say that about anything. Any comic book, any story, you can say that about the fucking Hobbit. You can say about anything. Oh, it's stupid. That doesn't mean you fucking change it and you make it worse. But upon saying all of that, something else that bothers me are people's complaints in this day and age about CGI. They claim it's lazy. And the funny thing about saying that something's lazy or critiquing something as lazy, it's a lazy argument because people use it for everything. That's lazy writing. That's lazy directing. That's lazy producing. That's lazy. That's all people say is lazy, lazy, lazy. CGI is not lazy. Let me explain something to all of you. If you watch movies in the 80s, I mean, like whatever the fuck. I can't even come up with any of these movies from the 80s anymore, and I don't want to get any titles wrong, so I'll just let you look them up. Look up movies in the 80s when all you had, fucking look at the Star Wars movies, when all you had were puppets and animatronics. It looked like shit, okay? Plain and simple, looked like shit. And this was high quality animatronics and puppets. Now I know what you're gonna say. When it's bad CGI, it's obvious. When it's good animatronics and puppeteering, it's fucking obvious. Mouth don't like that. When do you say mouth don't like that? CGI makes things look realistic. When I go to a movie, I want to escape reality and be thrown into your alternate universe, your different new universe, your spacious universe. I want to be involved in whatever reality you're trying to portray here. That's the whole point of movies, escape from reality. It's hard for me to escape from reality when I'm seeing people in masks and puppets. It's kind of difficult. But when you see CGI done the right way, especially nowadays, it looks realistic. You can see things that don't really exist as though they do exist. And there are ordinarily actors in there. Also, when it comes to CGI for backgrounds and stuff, more or less they're still using models or they're filming on location. So it's not like it's just one big green screen and they're flashing something up there. They used to do stuff like that anyway. You ever see a movie like Psycho, where the background is basically a movie screen with a toy car in front of it doing this, and the background is flashing all this scenery behind you? It's been going on for years and years and years. You have to create an illusion. So with CGI, at least the illusion looks a little bit more glorious, a little bit more magnificent. It's not just some dingy models and some crabby, dirty set. You can actually be thrown into these different worlds. And that's what I want to see. And it's not lazy because anyone that thinks that computer programming is easy has never programmed in computers before. It's very tedious work. And sometimes it's more physically taxing than putting together a bunch of fucking robots. And the reason why it's more physically taxing is you gotta sit there and look at a computer screen for hours and hours a day. I know, I do it. It's not easy. And it's certainly not lazy just because you're sitting down as opposed to working with something. But like I said, it's still based off sets or whatever. They still have people in costume. You can't just have a CGI character out there. There's got to be something that it needs to be generated and rendered on top of. So there are still people doing stunts. There are still people that are being based, these characters are being based off of. So get off the idea that puppets and animatronics are the only way to go, or they're so much better. If you actually watched the first Turtles movie and you saw their faces and shit, you'd laugh your ass off. And if you're not laughing your ass off, you're either painfully nostalgic, you're kidding yourself, or you're using less than a third of your brain. It's obvious that these things are not really there. I did see some commercials of TMNT, and I was pretty impressed with the CGI. I do prefer CGI over what they used to do. And considering the technology is not just there but evolving constantly, why not use it? So that's my rant for today. Get off the puppets and get off creating your own version of comic books that have been selling millions upon billions of copies for the last how many years to make your own movie with these characters. If you were creative enough to make your own movie, you'd make your own movie. And by the way, they're trying to kill off Wolverine in the comics. That bothers me. And thank you all for watching. I have more views soon to come, so stay tuned, take care, and have a great day.